about to bring my glasses.
Meeting called to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann.
Here.
Councilman McBride. Councilman Harrell.
Here.
Councilman Stamey.
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker. Councilman Fair.
Present.
Here. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So,
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Do what?
Fair board?
There's not one. That was last week. That was last month.
No, I put it in your box. This is fair board.
It was July 23rd.
Yeah, this is dated the 26th of July.
Mine's August.
That's what no, fair board meeting.
Hey, follow along, UT. Come on, man.
Sorry. I didn't print it. But
Do
it's
you
in
want
your
to, can we come back and do it, or after the regular meeting, maybe come back and do beer board?
Yep.
Can you go back sometime and,
If they want to sit and wait.
yeah,
this is just-
it's not going to be long.
I mean, drop off.
The prayer this evening be given by Vice Mayor Farah. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, lead, guide, and direct us as we come here to do the city's business. Give us the courage and the wisdom to do with your will. I also want to pray tonight for those that are suffering from COVID and those that have lost loved ones to that disease. Lord, be with us and let us trust in you and not live in fear. All this I ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Zach. Do I hear a motion for the review and approval of minutes of the previous meeting dated July 26, 2021, and also the August 11, 2021 special called meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. This time, recognize any visitors, citizens with praises. No concerns, just praises today. Catherine, you want to speak at this time? I'll tell you what, I got you somewhere else. You're going to be under the other board and committee reports. That'll be your official come up and talk. Don't have any communications from the mayor. Do have the proclamation for the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I asked Councilman Gann to read.
Okay. I left my glasses at home, so I hope
You just got readers?
yeah,
There you go. I kind of broke it. I had to get those two.
good golly.
Those two.
I'll get the right focus here. Whereas suicide is one of the most disruptive and tragic events a family and a community can experience, with more than 1,100 lives lost in Tennessee each year and an estimated 25 attempted suicides for each suicide death. And whereas suicide is the 9th leading cause of all deaths in Tennessee, the 2nd leading cause of death among youth ages of 10 to 24, and the 1st leading cause for children ages 10 to 17. And whereas Tennessee veterans, active duty military, and National Guardsmen face a disproportionate risk as compared to the general population, with more dying from suicide than combat. And whereas public awareness of this tragic problem is the key to preventing further suffering and loss of life, and the risk of human self-destruction can be reduced through awareness, education, and treatment, as the highest risk for suicide is among the survivors of those who died by suicide or those who have had attempted suicide. And whereas suicide prevention has been declared a state priority by the governor, and the Tennessee legislature has declared teen suicide prevention as a state priority in partnership with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network to implement the Tennessee Strategy for Suicide Prevention. And whereas the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network is a grassroots collaboration of Tennesseans and organizations working to eliminate the stigma of suicide, educate the community about the warning signs of suicide, and ultimately reduce the rate of suicide in our state. And whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need occasional reminders that we are silently fighting our own battles, and encourage all Tennesseans to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long way toward helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Clinton, do hereby proclaim September 2021 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Clinton, Tennessee, and urge all citizens to work to prevent suicide and to raise awareness and tolerance around all people affected by this tragedy. This proclamation adopted this 23rd day of August, 2021.
Thank you, Larry.
Give you both up.
Speak, please.
Hi, my name's Stacy Pratt. I work with ASAP of Anderson, except for tonight I am here. Emily Hager sends her regrets that she couldn't be at the meeting to accept the proclamation, but we work very closely with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network, as there are many shared vulnerability factors and protective factors for suicide and substance misuse, and they're very intertwined. I gave you all a poster. This is one of the examples of how we were trying to prevent suicide deaths in our schools. Those will be in the bathroom stalls and in the hallways of all middle and high schools in Anderson County, in Oak Ridge, and also now in Clinton City Schools. And so I just wanted to take the time to thank you guys for taking your time to bring awareness to this really important topic and remind everybody that there's resources out there. You can text TN to 741-741 if you need any help. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Would you like this now, or you want it later? It's fine. Come on. You may want to sneak out. It'll be kind of hard. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Committee reports. Clinton City School Board, Ms. Johnson.
Did you just invite her to leave before we talk about Clinton City Schools?
I just know what I said, just in case she had to leave.
Why would you want to miss out on this? This is good
We can
stuff.
do this.
A couple of Clinton City updates. We are off to a great start. We have successfully completed 2 weeks of school now, starting our third week. COVID remains a part of what we do, unfortunately, but we've really had a very successful start to the school year. As of today, we have only had 2 positive cases that have required contact tracing in the district. The parents are doing just an amazing job, and I know we talked about this last year, but really if we can commit to keeping sick and exposed kids at home, then that is our key to keeping schools open and keeping the students safe. And we're seeing parents do that. We had a couple of other students test positive, but it was after the parents knew that they had had an outside exposure or there was someone in their household that were sick, so they went ahead and quarantined them. And so they never were at school to expose anybody else. And so we're very, very thankful for how seriously our parents are taking the current situation that we are in, but we continue to be successful in Clinton City Schools, and just our hope and prayer is that we continue to have success. I do want to do a couple of shout outs just to let you know. The Clinton Elementary sign, the digital sign, Rusty Wallace donated $20,000 for us to purchase a Clinton Elementary sign, a digital sign in the front. That's going to be installed tomorrow, and so we're super excited about that. And once we make sure that that is up and running and it's done to our satisfaction, then we will move towards doing the North Clinton digital sign, and then all 3 of our schools will have digital signs. And then we have had in the past week or week and a half 2 anonymous donors come forward and in support of North Clinton Elementary School, and they don't want their name to be recognized, but they are huge supporters of North Clinton and our mission up at North Clinton. The first one was a $1,000 donation to the North Clinton Library, and so Janie Jackson will be the recipient of that and can use that for library needs. And then today we received an anonymous donation of $5,000 for North Clinton Elementary for student programming. And they have just formed a new STEM lab that is called the Tammy Pack STEM Lab, who's a long-term fourth grade teacher with Clinton City Schools. And so that $5,000 will go towards meeting some individual student needs and then also buying STEM supplies for the new STEM lab at North Clinton. So we are very, very thankful to those people. So even though they want to remain anonymously, I want to publicly thank them for their support of Clinton City Schools. But other than that, we're off to a good start. We've done our beginning of the year benchmarking, intervention, and all of that good stuff is getting ready to kick in. We're using a lot of our ESSER funds for additional teaching assistants and certified interventionists to help us recover from the learning loss associated with school closures and all of our quarantines and isolation last year. But things are looking great in Clinton City. Any questions for me?
Any questions for Kelly?
Did you mention the new media room that you're going to come up with? I don't think you
Yes,
did
thank
that.
you for reminding me of that. So we received a donation from ORNL Federal Credit Union in the amount of $10,000. And that is going to be spent on an actual TV media room. It's going to be housed at South Clinton Elementary School, but it will be available district-wide. And we will be able to use that to form a media club for our 6th grade students. We're going to use it, and students are going to use it to actually make videos interviewing teachers, but then we can also use it for some formal presentations to just do good PR of the good things that are happening in Clinton City Schools. And so we're in the process of ordering that equipment right now, and so soon we will be Clinton City TV bound. And we appreciate ET was a big part in making that donation happen for us, so we certainly appreciate our ORNL Federal Credit Union for their donation.
How's your enrollment looking versus last year?
We're holding pretty steady from what we had last year. We, of course, aren't offering the virtual program this year. The state did not allow us to do that unless we set up a separate school that was just a virtual school, and we're really not with our size set up to do that. So we're holding steady. The interesting thing is that we are seeing a spike in enrollment at North Clinton Elementary. And I don't know if that's with the houses being flipped and redone, but we're seeing just an abundance of young families move into the North Clinton. So we actually have 2 kindergarten classrooms, and then the 5th grade enrollment was so high, we're in the process. We've just hired an additional 5th grade teacher. So
Great.
two of our grade levels actually have 2 classes at North Clinton this year. So that's super exciting.
Great. Any other questions for Kelly? Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks.
Nothing from you today, Scott?
No, unless you want to.
Happy day. Let's move on. Clinton Regional Planning Commission report, Councilman Gann.
The Clinton Regional Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals met on August 9th. The Board of Zoning and Appeals applicant B&B Properties requesting minimum lot size for planned unit development, PUD, from 2 acres to 1.5 acres for property located at South Charles G. Severs Boulevard. Property is zoned R3. This is the property as you go around the river, just past the lawnmower repair service on the right that they're developing. It'll be an 8-apartment complex.
When are they planning on breaking ground with that?
I would say relatively soon, because of not only, you're going to hear them again in a minute, they got final plat, final site plat review. So they should be breaking ground anytime. And then the Regional Planning Commission applicant Eric Reed requesting site plan review for property located at 185 Frank Diggs Drive. Property is zoned M2. This is the powder coat property that we had to have some revisions and some additions and everything, but they got all of the pieces together, and with that, they did get approval for that addition. And the applicant Michael Scott requesting site plan review for property located at North Charles G. Severs Boulevard. Property is zoned B4, and for my wife and a number of other people, they're ecstatic about this. This is the new Dairy Queen. You can get your dipped cones there fairly soon, so.
I say you'll be going with her too.
I think I'll better probably be driving. And then B&B Properties, again, requesting site plan review for the property located at Charles Severs Boulevard, and that was approved. So again, they should be working on that fairly quickly. And then Gina Sweeten requesting final plat review for property located at 315 West Broad Street. Property is zoned R2. This was, as we frequently get, a redivision of 2 properties. And so that was approved without much discussion. And then also, we began a review and recommendation of site plan checklist amendments. There's a few things that our site plan does not cover that we're looking at adding to the site plan that when they come to us, we want to have some information in place when we make our decision. One of those is what we've talked about, and that is the appearance of the building. What is the construction? What is the appearance of the building? To bring with their site plans before we review it.
How much can you install in that process when a developer or the owner of is talking to you about, and you're telling them the way you want the business to look?
I think we can influence them. I don't know how much we can demand, but I think we can influence, if they're in an area where this is the appropriate
Sure.
appearance,
Right.
we'd like for you to follow the appropriate appearance there. We don't want you to go outside what everybody else is doing.
Pretty much like Buddy's Barbecue, looks like most of those are gonna have the brick front.
Well, and it's interesting, Buddy's Barbecue, that building, we asked what it was gonna look like beforehand. That, we kind of began that process then. It hasn't happened all the time, but that one we did look, and we're really pleased with the way that.
I think on top of that, usually when you see a Wendy's are pretty common. They're brick and they're nicely made and stuff. Dollar Tree, I think, hindsight being 2020, if we had that conversation, I'm not saying anything bad about Planning Commission, but if we had that conversation that Larry's talking about doing it in the future, then there were several people took pictures of Dollar Trees in other places that were all brick. So it's just, I think, I was at the Planning Commission meeting and we spoke about that. I just think we've evolved past the metal buildings and if people want to make a long-term investment, then I think they need to be a partner with the city and do what they can to make their building as nice as possible.
Well, you find that would be more apt to happen more if someone built something new in the city or downtown opposed to the interstate? I mean, do you think you'd maybe take
You'd
a
hope they would.
closer look?
Yeah, probably so, because we'd like for them
Right.
to be in contact. Just for example, when the Dairy Queen issue came up, that was one of the questions we asked, what's this going to look like? And he said exactly what his answer was. It's going to look like the one in Oak Ridge,
Good, okay.
which,
And even if we can strongly recommend, like you're saying, I hope we get to the point where it is in the bylaws, if you will, of the code and have more requirement than just.
we'd
just
like for you
kinda
to make it look this way.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thanks, Larry. CUB report, Councilman Fair?
Financials are included in your package, and I just would like to ask anybody in the public that has concerns about cable, please come to the CUB board meeting and we will discuss. Also, feel free to call me if you have questions. I know multiple people on council have been contacted here recently. I'm happy to answer any of your questions or any of your concerns. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for Zach?
I know that frequently CUB is in a cooperative effort. Are we sending any assistance to the Waverly area you're aware of?
I'm not aware of, but I do know that we routinely send crews all across the southeast in response to emergency needs.
I would expect we probably have some people there.
Thanks again. Other board and committee reports. Larry, you have anything for Green McAdoo?
Well, you have this letter here,
Yes.
which we got this week, that we're being invited as guests to a commemoration for the Clinton 12 and the Scarborough 85 at the Scarborough Community Center on August 31st. This will last about 45 minutes with Governor Lee. So it is a commemoration. As we've talked about on several occasions, when we have a Green McAdoo meeting, we're unfortunately quickly running out of Clinton 12. They're aging and a lot of them can't travel. And I don't know if we'll be able to get any there, but we need to, when we get the chance to recognize them, we need to do it.
Are they doing something for the Oak Ridge game with the Oak Ridge, the Scarborough 85 and the Clinton 12?
I haven't heard anything.
There's some coordination, but I don't know at what level it's going to be. I've been copied on some communication.
Nate will probably give me a script when we get to that to read.
By the way, are you going to be doing the ball game Friday night?
I will be at West, hopefully punching the right buttons.
Good. Well, you'll have your wingman with you. He'll take care of you.
Well, they have a jumbotron, and we've said, no, we're not operating the jumbotron.
Yeah, your pay doesn't increase.
We don't want to tear up anything.
You gotta
the high school's gonna
renegotiate.
have to pay for it.
You gotta renegotiate your contract if you're gonna do that. Thanks, Larry. Catherine?
Okay, I'm here to give the Main Street update, which thank you so much to the City of Clinton for supporting this, getting it started on a good foot. I think it's going to be so great for our little town. Over the last month, we had our July 23rd event, which we did our ribbon cutting. We were able to make a little bit of money off of some merchandise. Quickly after that, on July 30th, we submitted a facade grant to the state of Tennessee. If we were to get that facade grant, we would be able to help 26 businesses on Market Street do anything from new windows to paint their buildings, to get new awnings, to help them do signage on the other side of their buildings so they can use their back door entrances while the construction with TDOT is going on. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We've been told that we will hear something in September. So I will update you on that next month. Main Street also received a almost $60,000 donation from the Hollingsworth Foundation. So if we are able to get that facade grant, the Hollingsworth Foundation will pay the 25% match. So all of that construction that we're able to do to the buildings will come at no cost to the business owners. I think that's huge for Market Street, just with coming off of COVID and them having to have their doors closed, and then they're worried about the construction. So I just think that will be such a great thing for our businesses down there. But we're also going to be able to update the Welcome to Clinton sign with some landscaping. One thing that I've noticed a lot of Main Street programs have is a walking tour, and they have plaques on historic buildings that give a history and when it was built. And then the town's able to create a walking tour. So anyone visiting or even residents can walk around and learn more about the city that they live in or they're stopping in. And so that's something that we can provide 17 plaques for some historic buildings down here as well, and then update some banners around also. So September 11th, we are doing an event to commemorate the 20th anniversary by honoring our local heroes, our firefighters, police officers, and EMTs. We are partnering with Clinch Valley CrossFit, and we're going to do a CrossFit competition, which Councilman Farah is a part of, and he'll be competing that day. So come out. So we have around 80 athletes that are going to be competing that day, but we're starting the day at 8:30. We're going to play bagpipes every time a plane crashed or a tower fell. So we'll play those on the minutes. We're going to have the ROTC come down and do a flag ceremony. We're going to be lifting flags up on fire trucks. We'll have the national anthem will be sung, and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we're going to honor all of our police officers and firefighters that decide to come down. And we've got some prizes and some money to give to them. So I hope lots of people will come, and I hope the community will just come cheer them on as well. And then the rest of the day, we have food trucks, and we have military that's coming to set up some recruitment, and we're gonna have some basketball and some football, and the UT game's gonna be playing in the park, so it should be a really fun day. The Antique Festival will be shortly after that, October 1st and 2nd, so we're working with the chamber really hard on that. Main Street is going to be selling some merchandise, and then we're also going to be partnering with Joey Smith and Sellers Realty to do horse-drawn carriage rides that will go into down Eagle Bend into like the historic residential area. And then after that, we're just looking at some other grants and working on some Christmas events. So
need to order the Christmas decorations too.
we do. I talked to Roger about that today, so we're going to meet next week.
Any questions for Catherine?
Will the 5K be downtown this year?
The Clinton 5K for the Education Foundation, yes. Okay. As far as I know.
Okay.
Yep.
I've asked I think Roger and I both asked Catherine to do this on a monthly basis, just kind of keep everybody up to date and just be able to communicate better as far as what's going on.
Absolutely.
I sent her an email just a second ago that I got from Mitch Loomis. He's with the East Tennessee Development District, and they say that each year during the annual banquet, make a special recognition to communities that have done something special this past year. And this year, they're going to be recognizing Clinton,
Yep.
which is a very nice honor. And that's really around the Main Street designation. And I know 10 or 12 years ago, I know when Rick was still working in Nashville, he came and we talked about that. So he kind of started, he planted the first seed. Then Missy Sneed, several years back, we went to Jonesboro and we went to Sweetwater and really investigated this. And then you came around and we popped it back up. And I think it's a good program.
Yep.
And so I want to recognize all you guys collectively
Absolutely.
to make this happen. I certainly appreciate it. I do appreciate what you're doing, Catherine.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right.
Are you going to get the agenda for as we're talking, or are you going to take a break and you're going to get it?
Is there not one in Dropbox?
I don't know. Maybe. Somebody take a look at it. Gail, are you going to do Roger's report? Okay.
Finance-wise, not much to say on July. Most of our revenues, of course, go back into fiscal year '21, so you don't see much revenue on that. Our sales tax we've completed for the fiscal year. The city ended up with an increase of 13.66%. Countywide, we were up 15.73%, so huge increases there in sales tax. We asked you all last month to reserve some money for capital projects and grants, mainly most of the grants that we've got going on. We calculated that we needed $1,775,000, and I was able to reserve $1.7 million for that. So we have all the TAP grants and everything that you all have obligated yourselves for over the next 2 or 3 years covered with that $1.7 million. That's pretty much it on finance. We've got a couple of things from recreation. They have 2 damaged F-250 truck beds, parts, et cetera, that we want to surplus and post them on GovDeal, so we request those items be declared surplus by you all.
Hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The only other thing is the artificial turf that we put down, I think back in maybe 2016, on the sidelines of Clinton High School. The school system, Anderson County School System has asked us to donate that to them for use at the high school baseball field, so we would request that you declare that surplus so that we can transfer it to the Anderson County School System.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any other questions for Gail?
Gail, do you have any, last Tuesday there was an accident over here behind the community center. Do you have any follow-up what happened there? Like, we were evacuated at Rotary due to a gas leak. Do you have any,
I'm
does
sure.
anybody have any information around that?
I'm
I
sure.
don't think it was technically a gas leak, I think it just released some gas, but we got it delivered for the dog park, and the transfer truck, I guess, is pulled out, but he's took down a line that went from the building to the pole behind, that he's jerked all the gas lines off the top of the roof, and the telephone lines out of the center, so it wasn't what we had down here, but we had a mess over there, so
All's well now though, correct?
all's well. I think we got everything telephone-wise back Friday, I believe, or Thursday afternoon.
I think did y'all close up?
No.
I know the courthouse did.
Courthouse closed.
They didn't get power back till 4:30.
Well, at the same time that happened, there was a
Yeah,
transformer in front of Southern Bank.
Yeah.
Another incident.
They say that was not connected, but it caused
Oh.
all of our power. Ours flickered on and off for a couple of
Yeah, the
hours.
drugstore didn't have power for a while.
That's all.
Any other questions? Thanks, Gail. Under ordinances and resolutions, first reading of new ordinances, ordinance number 667, amending the CMC Title 11, Section 11-704. This is the use of tobacco on city park property. Do you hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Can anybody, Bill or Gail, can anybody talk on that?
State law change, you all have passed to where you can't do tobacco products specifically on playgrounds. The state, during this last legislative session, changed that a little bit and increased it, and they specifically exempted vapor products the first time. Now they have included vapor products, as well as extending the focus of where that can be. It can even be, we can exclude it now on greenways. For instance, the new dog park would be excluded for any tobacco products as well as vapor products. So we are taking it as far as the state law will allow us to take it.
Stacy, do you have anything you can add to that? Can you come to the podium, please? Sorry. You should have left.
Pretty much what Gail said. We're really excited to be able to do those expansions since the state law, since you passed that first ordinance, was updated to be able to allow you to do that. The only other thing I would add is that ASAP and the Health Department are partnering to provide you all with the signage that you'll need to put in those parks. So me and Roger have been working to design those and get those. I think that's why he wanted to go ahead and get this, because we were getting ready to print the signs. And then this happened July 1st, so we wanted to update it and then print the signs, so we didn't have to reprint them.
I wonder, Gail, do you think there's any exceptions to this? Maybe for example, during the fair, could we have designated smoking areas for events like that?
It's up to the city to regulate, like the state law gave you the authority to regulate it on your own.
Okay.
So you can.
So if the fair wanted some
how to.
designated areas, they could do that.
I think so.
Yeah, and actually during the fair, it would be sort of private and not.
Yeah.
as a park.
So it'd be-
Fair during that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's do roll call, please.
Councilman Gann?
Yes.
Councilmember Bragg? Councilman Harrell?
Yes.
Councilman Stamey?
Yes.
Councilman Hatmaker? Councilman Farron?
Aye.
Mayor Burton?
Yes, ordinance number 667 passes on first of second reading. First of two readings, I should say. Any old business before us? Any new business?
Mayor
Aye.
Burton,
Go ahead.
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I did forget something. We have a budget amendment we need to pass. It's in the comptroller is requiring us to do budget amendments on a monthly basis, and so I've put together this one. They're all projects that were capital outlay projects, so you've got that in your packet. I need your all's approval for those amendments. The first two I've got coming out of fund balance, but I'm gonna change that to the capital projects assigned fund balance, so everything will come out of that assigned fund balance that we have set aside for capital projects.
So this is something we used to do at the end of the year, now we have to do it on a monthly basis?
We will continue to redo the ordinance at year end, but we will have to pass a budget amendment as they come forth, probably on a monthly or every other month basis.
Okay. Hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. ET, you was going to say something?
Yeah, Mr. Brown, you've got a new storage you'd like to tell us about. You're pretty proud about that, so.
It's in the works, got a new storage building between Public Works and Rome State. Dwayne did a lot of prep work, getting everything ready, but it's a metal building. We're moving everything from the football field, all our trucks and everything, trying to get power, trying to get cameras.
In between the public works and the fair
Trying to
building.
make things look a little bit better and find a place for all our stuff.
Looks very nice. Did a good job.
It's good.
You want to talk
Good
about
work.
you want to talk about the picnic pad you made for the ladies here?
Gail may not talk about that.
Were you pleased with that, Gail?
We just wanted a picnic table on the grass, but it
No, you
evolved.
can't. Yeah, you can't just do that. That's right. We want you to stay around a little bit longer. We're trying to sweeten the deal a little bit. Anything else? We're going to go right into the beer board meeting when I adjourn here. Let me see. Regular meeting is adjourned. Beer Board meeting called to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann.
Here.
Councilman McBride. Councilman Harrell.
Here.
Councilman Stamey.
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker. Councilman Fair.
Here.
Mayor Burton.
Here. Do I hear a motion for the review and approval of minutes of previous meeting dated July 26, 2021?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Under new business, request from Anderson County Chamber of Commerce for a Class E on-premise special event beer permit located at 245 North Main Street in Clinton. Rick, would you like to speak on that? Sorry you had to wait. It's Gina's fault.
Right.
Mayor, I will not blame her for that. She's the one holding the permit. No, this is our normal festival permit that we get and be in Hoskins Park. I have Kathy Taylor with me with Clinch River Brewery. She'll actually be the one brewmaster. Maybe a special flavored beer for that. It'd be Friday and Saturday, just like our normal thing. Obviously, we didn't do it last year, so if you have any questions, I'll be
So Hoskins
glad.
Park is going to be the venue
correct.
there. You can drink anywhere in that park
We'll
area,
have wristbands, IDs, and we'll have people
just like
monitoring.
you've done in the past.
That's correct.
Okay. Sounds very good. Any questions for Rick? Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Here, any other questions or thoughts? Here, a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hello again. I was just going to mention during the beer board meeting, I know you all in Clinton don't have an ordinance requiring responsible alcohol sales, but we have just received a grant to where if there are businesses who come and wish to receive that training right now, they can receive it completely free of charge and all their materials for free. So I just wanted to let the beer board know that that's available. So if the businesses in Clinton were, I know cost was one of the barriers. So if you know of anyone or these small businesses who wanted to get their employees trained, now would be a great time.
Why don't you get with Roger? Maybe he can share some names that have gotten that approval over the last several months. It might be a good way for you to follow up with them, just to offer that support.
Yeah, I know during COVID it was kind of tough
Yeah.
doing the classes, but we're getting
Yeah.
back to them. Thank you.
Thanks again. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Means adjourn. Okay, we went an hour on that. I didn't think we'd go 30 minutes.